So we had a graphic for Sabu at the start of Raw. Very sadly, he passed away this week, and I tell you, when I saw that, it got me. He was the first guy I saw when I was young that made me go, oh my gosh, I'm going to freak out here, because what is he going to do? And he really was a genuine game changer. And when you can see it with all the reactions to his passing, there are so many things in modern day wrestling that wouldn't be there if it wasn't for Sabu. So thoughts with his friends and family. There's a horrible news. Also, hello my friends, welcome to Ups and Downs, and as we always say, we shall now try and cheer ourselves up by just enjoying wrestling in the way that it's meant to be enjoyed, because it's supposed to be the most important of the least important things. I'm also Simon Miller, bald idiot, let's up those downs. So Raw started with all the news from last week's Raw. Because of that, out came CM Punk, and he was mad. And he pointed to the sky like Sabu, and I thought that was cool. And he was like, listen man, I've got a lot of enemies, but if I had one bullet in the chamber, do you know who I'd take out first? Me. What are you talking about? And that is because he should never have trusted Paul Heyman. I mean, it's not like we haven't been here before. 12 years ago, Paul Heyman also turned on him then with a ladder. So if anyone is a fool here, it is CM Punk. I mean, even when he came back to WWE, Jey Uso was like, yeah, I wouldn't get into it with that guy, and he didn't listen. So I love brand new WWE when we do get to talk about the past. When CM Punk called Paul Heyman a fat little snake. Now, a couple of questions. Can you get fat snakes? I'm genuinely asking, I'd like to know. And also, he said fat little. That's a contradiction in terms. What are we talking about? He then called Seth Rollins Team CM Punk when he said, Paul Heyman, I'm going to squeeze you so hard that your eyes pop out. Crime counter. Heyman was clearly offended, so he marched out, and Punk called him the Penguin, which did make me chuckle. He would make a good penguin. And Punk also doubled the crown counter because he said, haha, no matter what you are going to say, they'll be your final words. Surprise, surprise, here came Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker, safety in number. Now Rollins was stunned because he is more egotistical than ever, and if we go back through the road to WrestleMania, you were horrible to Paul Heyman. Why would he stand by his side? You basically manipulated him. He then said CM Punk was walking excrement, and let's hope that never becomes a real thing, and that if it wasn't for Punk, he would be the champion. So CM was like, listen, as long as I can stand, you ain't never getting that belt. Rollins then decided he would send Bron Breakker to the ring, because quite clearly CM Punk loves to be the victim. And Bron Breakker did smash this guy, when out came Sami Zayn. I was like, Sami, what took you so long? Stevie Wonder could have seen what was going to happen here, but you were just meandering backstage. He totally failed, because he got destroyed too as Seth Rollins got involved, when Jey Uso also tried to help. And guess what happened? These three suck. It was fine though, because eventually Jey and CM Punk went and got some chairs to chase them away. And listen, this was a very simple segment, but it works, because the fans care about everybody involved. They feel like stars. Now obviously more is coming, and surely Seth Rollins' group does need to add a third man if we do something with this trio, although later on it did get announced for Saturday's main event, and it's just a tag team match, Seth Rollins and Bron taking on Sami and CM Punk. So we shall wait and see, but I'm invested, I like it, giving it an up. When we got the most ridiculous explanation ever, because Michael Cole was on the booth by himself, he said, well, Pat McAfee is just being checked out by the medical team. Right, so, despite the pay-per-view being on Saturday, Pat McAfee went to them and said, we'll do it at 7:30 p.m. on Monday. I'm right here. I've got like 2 days. We'll do it 7:30 p.m. Monday. Anyway, this was just so Pat McAfee could have his big entrance. Everybody cheered. He did do a good job. When we got to Penta versus Chad Gable, and of course it was good. It's also a paradox, because do not forget this was set up after El Grande Americano had attacked Penta at the PLE, and while we know that Chad Gable is El Grande Americano, it hasn't been confirmed that Chad Gable is El Grande Americano. Excuse me, I fell down. Penta tried to dive because it is 2025, but Chad Gable just murked him out of midair, and later on, when Gable dived at this man, he went straight into a code breaker. I could watch them fight forever, say it with me, or the allocated time that it was given on Raw. We also got a bunch of German suplexes, and the whole time Chad Gable was trying to get at Penta's mask. I was like, wait a minute, that's what El Grande Americano does. I think I'm onto something. We then got to ankle locks and super kicks as Penta pushed Chad Gable off the top rope. But that was totally his fault, because he was posing. And how many times do we have to say it? Stop posing. Gable did land on his feet, but that got even better, because Penta ran in, gave him the Mexican Destroyer, and he got the 1, 2, 3. So I guess that's his finisher now. Works for me. So really it was just a way for Penta to get his win back, even though he defeated a different person here. I hope I don't start thinking about this on night time. I don't think I'll sleep. But only in wrestling, and I am going to give it up. It's just two people that click, man. And I'm still convinced eventually it will be El Grande Americano and somebody else taking on the Lucha Brothers up. Roxanne, Perez, and Giulia then proved to us they are nothing but annoying siblings, because they were like, we are not waiting our turn. For goodness sake. That is why they're aiming for Io Sky and Rhea Ripley later though, so they go to the top of the food chain. When we cut to the Judgment Day, poor Don Mysterio, he couldn't figure out time difference, because Liv Morgan is in Australia. I tell you, man, this guy gonna become the biggest babyface. Now, he was also annoyed at Finn Balor because he was like, I watched the footage, man, and you took a long time at the pay-per-view. Finn was like, dude, you sound paranoid. In fact, you sound like Rhea and Damian Priest. Also, don't worry, I'm gonna do you a solid, man. I'm gonna take out AJ Styles. Not for WWE then happily showed footage of Pat McAfee absolutely getting murked by Gunther. But it worked for Pat. We cut right to him. He got a big old pop and McAfee was all like, oh, stop it. I don't want the attention. But Michael Cole got him to stand on the announce table. And actually, when you take that out of context, that's really weird. I also think from a wrestling point of view, we should stop doing this. Because Pat McAfee was trying to avenge all the terrible things that happened to Michael Cole. I want to be that guy. He totally failed. He got his ass whipped. Pat still feels like there is a mutual respect there, given what happened after the match, but I would doubt that, given Gunther's actions, when we did learn about that Satellite's main event tag team match. So we could get that. We are getting Jey Uso versus Logan Paul, and I assume we'll get John Cena versus R-Truth. I mean, that's a wacky card. We then saw Sami Zayn and CM Punk in the back, and they were like, man, I can't trust you, and you can't trust me, and what we gonna do? When Sam was like, well, actually, I did trust you at War Games, and that worked out pretty good. Main reason they should come together, though, is because they do have similar ambitions, and if Seth Rollins and his goobers are running around, they are not going to be able to achieve them. Fist bump, let's go. So that was nice, because they solved their problem in 9 seconds, when it was time for maybe a #1 tag team contender match between the Creeds and the War Raiders. That's what Michael Cole says. If they do win, maybe they'll get a shot. The New Day were on commentary as well. They're so damn good at that, although there is a big faux pas here. How are the Creeds in this position when they have not won a match in 72,899 years? It was pretty damn good, though, because when Ivar was trying to beat up Julius, he gave him a superplex, and he is so impressive, and the angle slam that Brutus did. Listen, man, we can do more with the Creeds, but they got the sauce. Ivar even tried for his handspring at one point, but the Creeds caught him and slammed him down. And listen, Eric panicked. He had to break it up at the 1-2-0. And of course, this is when Xavier Woods was doing stuff on outside of the ring. And you know the deal. If a wrestler is in the ring, and a wrestler starts doing something on the outside of the ring, the wrestler in the ring does not know what to do, and he totally freaks out, and he forgets he did a match. I kind of think somebody backstage needs to do a workshop. Kofi Kingston didn't go one step further because he attacked properly when Brutus hit the Brutus ball. 1, 2, 3. Listen, the New Day were kind of happy that the Creeds won, so I'm not 100% sure where this is going. Not true, we were about to find out. The New Day were so proud of themselves too, and they're so entertaining. And listen, so was this match? But I still feel like we can do more with this tag team division. It's kind of situated around these 3 teams. What we should be doing is sort of building other duos so we can really give it some depth. I also think given the New Day are the champions, we should be doing stories and promos. I mean, they're like some of the best at talking into a microphone. So I'm just going to give that a down. It's like a little down, because it's still entertaining. I just do not feel we are maximizing the potential. Rollins was then getting all mad by hyping up Bron Breakker, saying, man, nobody knows what we're capable of, but also, I have to go home. It's like, what are you talking about? He then whispered something to Breakker, and he smiled like the Cheshire Cat. Now don't worry, because I figured it out. It makes perfect sense. Rollins clearly went, I'm off to get you KFC. I know that smile. And Perez was then talking to Jey Uso backstage when we saw Finn Balor in the background talking to Roxanne Perez. So I would bookmark that one in your brain. Given that we had just seen Jey as well, he came out to have his big world champion celebration, and he said, Logan Paul, you keep ducking me, but you won't be able to duck me at Sunday's main event, because you versus me and it's me versus you, and you keep saying that I'm not a real champ, I'll show you. He also called himself the Arena Shaker, which is a good name, but also kind of sounds like a test you do to a building to make sure it wouldn't fall down. And then out came Gunther. I was not expecting that. Now, he is still amazed that Jey did it, and this is actually the first time they have been together since he did tap out, when, of course, all the fans started chanting, oh yeah, you tapped out. Gunther doesn't care about any of that, though, because he still knows what it means to be a champion. He has been champion for 80% of his time in WWE, and while Jey Uso does have that belt, he doesn't get it. This is just a fact. This is why he did have news, and he knows that's what Adam Pearce was talking to Jey Uso about, because straight after Saturday Night's main event, in around about 1 month's time, the winner is gonna be taking on Gunther. Damn, that Pat McAfee win really did him wonders. And listen, we actually dropped the date here, the 9th of June, so that one is locked in. Gunther also hopes that it is still Jey Uso so he can kill him. Honestly, he is just the best damn heel. He continues to do that thing where he says things that aren't statements, but because he says them with so much gusto, you just totally believe him. Jey doesn't care though, because he's gonna be that guy, he's gonna be that champion, there's nothing that Gunther can do about it. And I am massively intrigued about this one, because I don't think Jey Uso will lose the belt. At the same time, Gunther needs to continue this momentum on. That's what you want from a match, and it's happening on Raw. I smell shenanigans, and people keep talking about Goldberg. We wait and see on this one. Give it up. Solid stuff. This is when we got our big tribute to Sabu, and yes, we just go back to the intro. He was a proper innovator and a game changer, and if you do have 5 to 10 to 15 minutes today, maybe just sit down and watch one of his matches, because if we keep the memory alive, people don't actually die. We really should use that as well as a reminder to give people that are still here their flowers before they're gone. And maybe we could also use it to just be a little bit kinder. And I'm then going to give another down tied into the tag team scene. Even I feel bad about this. But the Raw Raiders were so mad about what happened with the New Day, and Pierce just went, all right, fine. Let's do a triple threat match for the tag team titles. Now, this would be perfectly fine, aside from the fact in WWE at the moment, there's an epidemic of everybody interfering and distracting during matches. Why don't they get any consequences? Why are we just focusing on here? So it just needs to be better balanced. When you have no balance, you do fall down. There's that word, down. We then got a super important story after this as well, because there was Ludwig Kaiser about to do an interview, where in the back there was a bunch of commotion, and can you believe it? Bron Breakker was stood over Jey Uso. He had beat him up. Now Sami Zayn ran in here, as did a bunch of other dudes, and they're all like, oh, what happened? It's like, man, I hope you never become investigators. It is more obvious than my bald head. So of course we continue to stir the pot, and now that Jey Uso is more involved, well again, surely we are getting a third man. Before all that though, it was Finn Balor versus AJ Styles. I could watch it all day long. Cole did talk about the Bullet Club as well, so we are not in Toto anymore, Kansas. But of course, after a while, the Judgment Day started to interfere, starting with J.D. McDonough. I was like, Adam Pearce, you better be walking out here to sort this, and he did nothing. Thankfully, Styles hit a double clothesline to reset things when he hit the Pele kick and applied the calf crusher. My gosh, Finn Balor likes his calves. He scrambled to the rope. Finn Balor then came back with the sling blade, which is his signature, when he went for the coup de grace and he missed. Listen, one day, because I am a geek, I'm going to figure out his attempt first-rate hit ratio for that, which is not a thing. The point is, every time he does try to hit it for the first time, he misses. It was really cool, though, because AJ Styles hit the Styles Clash after that for a 1-2, when Carlito was like, I'm here too, maybe I'll do some interference. Finn did use that to get the DDT, but he only got a 1-2. When Penta teleported in, distraction number 3, he was on Barry Barricade, although fair play. He jumped off J.D. McDonugh's back and hit a Canadian Mexican Destroyer on the outside onto Carlito. That's pretty cool. Of course, Finn Balor was a wrestler in a wrestling ring, and wrestling stuff was happening on the outside, so he totally forgot what he was doing. Phenomenal forearm, 1, 2, 3. So yes, I am going to give it an up, because they could wrestle till the cows come home and still figure it out. But there is just too much distraction and interference in WWE right now, but we have already given it a down, and you never give something a double down. Much like you never go double heel, go and ask Dominic Mysterio. We absolutely do need to come up with a new way to finish matches, though, because it's starting to become way too obvious. But yeah, as for these two, they're all-timers and they rule. Becky Lynch then came to the ring as the New Day were being given t-shirts by Karrion Kross in the background. That's weird. Remember when Karen was mad at AJ Styles? Nope, me neither. Although I tell you, if Seth Rollins does need a third man, he would not be the worst choice. Becky also feels like she beat Lyra Valkyria at Backlash, so she must have watched a different show when she made it very clear. I'm here, but where's Lyra? She's in the hospital. There's also more proof that after people tangle with Becky, they are more relevant. Because look at Lyra Valkyria right now. Everybody is singing her praises, and that's because of Bex. As ever, though, it's been ruined by fan manipulation, because let's talk about the reason she did step away from the ring. It's because everybody was getting mad at her that she became the world champion. That is true, because I remember when she did become the world champion, I was like, man, I really enjoy this. And even I had things thrown at me. Imagine what she got. So while this was a very much you fans promo, every single thing she was saying was true. And the only reason people turn on her anyway is because she is so good and she can just whip their ass. She also talked about a time a friend asked her, do you miss wrestling? And she said, yes, well, I do miss being in the ring, but I don't miss how it makes me feel because, again, this audience always gets on my back and I don't particularly care for it. I mean, it's the same old people that just tell her what to do and tell her that she's full of lies. So from now on, let's just agree with the rhetoric. So is she selfish? You bet your ass. Is she greedy? You bet your ass. Is she cutthroat? You bet your ass. All the girls in the back too that was happy she was gone now do have to fear the man, because she's gonna hold them down. And thus ended the most meta promo on this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. Seriously though, this could very well be the best version of Becky Lynch. Every single thing she says sounds like she legitimately means it, and she probably does on some level, but also it ties into the past, so I do believe this is what we call a well-rounded persona. Very excited to see what we do with this, because she does have to win the IC title, and then is she going to cheat like a cheater? Most probably up. Rusev then promised that his brothers will fall by his hand as opposed to fall into the abyss. Ah, man, so happy. Rusev is back. When Tozawa was talking to Adam Pearce saying, I want a piece of Rusev. Tozawa, no. Now, he is not cleared, so Adam Pearce said we're going to have to wait for this when Sheamus walked in. And even he was like, man, Tozawa, you're doing a great job. It's Tozawa Day. Sheamus also wants to face Grayson Waller next week, and Adam Pearce did agree, and this makes perfect sense, because of course, it was meant to be Grayson versus Sheamus, but he ran away. I think finally, after 72 years, Grayson Waller and Austin Theory are about to break up. When we got to our main event, it was awesome, man. It was so awesome. It was Ripley Sky, or Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, taking on Giulia and Roxanne Perez. I'm sure there were some bits that were a little bit wibbly wobbly, but they lasted all for 1.2 milliseconds. When Rhea Ripley got that hot tag and run wild and started hitting people with razor's edges, I was locked in. Perez was annoyed about all of this, so she hit a Hurricane Rana when Giulia was hitting these awesome suplexes. That's when Io Sky taking her med pack, so she got a hot tag too. That works, we got a butterfly suplex and a brain buster. Then it was just you go, I go, we all go, we were getting 1-2 oohs. If anybody was worried how Roxanne Perez and Giulia were going to perform on the main roster, you can toss them out their window, they can hang. Shoot it. I really enjoyed the finish too because it was proper amazing timing, because at the very last second Rhea Ripley pushed Io Sky out the way, so when Roxy came off the top she took out Giulia instead. All of a sudden Rhea Ripley hit the riptide, Io Sky was stopping everybody else, or Roxanne Perez, who was trying to get in, 1, 2, 3. And the reason I like this too is Rhea Ripley did just get a visual pinfall over Giulia. They've teased we're going to do that match, which probably means when they do, Giulia will get the victory. We can talk about that till the cows come home. Of course, when they were celebrating, Rhea Ripley looked at that championship, because if you want that title, you can do nothing else. It essentially becomes the Lord of the Rings. But yes, I will take this any day of the week. And in terms of top tier talent, these four have to be right up there. It was so damn good. Go watch it. Up. Which brought us to the end of a very middle of the road episode of Raw, but that's okay. I get that Sunlight's main event is like tomorrow or something, so we have to put those seeds in place. And the card does look pretty good. So it was inoffensive, it was fine. More importantly though, please do let me know what you thought about last night's episode of Raw. Like the video, share the video and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is my ups and downs for Backlash, so you can see how much I don't know about wrestling. And yeah, just subscribe and do all that kind of thing, because it will make me happy. Maybe, I don't know. I don't even know if you do it or not. Take care, see you soon.